to be a realized person, one needs to contemplate on God in one of the three forms. Either it has to be name, or it has to be form, or it has to be his divine play. One of the three. And we can add the fourth, Guna, the attributes. Now if you look at Hindu religion, and if you go deeper into Hindu religion, you will find that the philosophy of Hindu religion really comes from the Upanishads, and the Upanishads mostly talk about Nirgun, Nirakar, Brahman as the supreme reality. God who is formless, who is without any qualities, without any form. How can you meditate on a God who has no form, who cannot be named, and who has no qualities as far as our world is concerned? We cannot attribute the goodness of our world on him. How do you meditate? There is no way you can meditate. There is just no way you can meditate. For example, those who claim that their religion is impersonal, if their religion is impersonal, then how come they are praying to that impersonal God? Or how they are taking the names of their impersonal God? Because, truly speaking, impersonal God can neither be conceived of nor any prayer can be made to that Lord. So Upanishads have a beautiful method of how to contemplate on that impersonal God. The method is known as not this, not this. That means they deny anything which is not pure consciousness. God is pure consciousness. So anything that is not pure consciousness, anything that is not simple, anything that has multiplicity, anything that has complexity is refused. So for example, there are the sense organs. Sense organs have multiplicity. Sense organs have complexity. So this cannot be God. And all these things combine at the level of mind. And normally we understand mind to be conscious. But we know that mind has its moods. Sometimes it's good, sometimes it's bad. And as far as mind is concerned, we know that we want to do something and yet we are not really able to do what we want to do. We want to achieve something, we even put efforts towards that, and yet we cannot get those results. That means there is something more fundamental than mind, which is making the mind work. That fundamental thing is pure consciousness. But then how do you meditate on that pure consciousness? So, the Hindus worked out a very beautiful method. They said that you cannot contemplate the infinite because its consciousness is infinite. But if you put masks on it, then you can contemplate. Those masks may not be true, but at the same time they are not absolutely false. That is putting the masks on the infinite. What masks? We know that human being is this. A human being means 2 legs, 2 hands, 2 eyes, mind, body, etc. This is a mask. You apply it on that pure consciousness and it becomes human being. So human being is also pure God. Just that its mask is not really a very good mask. If you put that animal mask on that infinite, is the same Supreme Brahman who now appears as a cat, as a rat, as a lion. And when you put the mask of creation on it, that same Supreme Brahman, the pure consciousness, now appears as pure creation. And when you put the mask of the attributes of, say, Lord Shiva, then he now appears as Lord Shiva. And when you put the mask of the qualities as represented by the personality of Lord Vishnu, he appears now as Lord Vishnu. When you put the collective presence of the animate and the inanimate, Jada Chetan, you collective thing on him, he now appears as totality of the universe, whatever is here. So, appearance of God depends on what kind of mask you put. It is that same infinite. Because infinite cannot be contemplated, and yet you need to contemplate. You cannot pray to the infinite because infinite is present everywhere. Prayer is made to something which is different from you. So how do you pray? You have to create an artificial difference. That difference is artificial, nevertheless it is very useful. For example, those of you who have some idea about botany. In botany what happens? There are, supposing there is a leaf and they need to have horizontal sections and transversal sections. So sometimes when they need to have very thin slices, what they do is they put that leaf in between that wax, and then through those thin razors they go on cutting that wax, and finally very thin slices of the leaf comes out. But if they go to cut that leaf, they will not be able to cut because it needs a support. Something like that. If you want to contemplate the infinite, you cannot. But the moment you put some mask, some support, then you can. And later you can drop that away, the way this wax is removed.